People don't really understand how LinkedIn can help them. They just create a profile and they forget about it. That was the gap that I wanted to fill in. It's not simply searching for supply chain professional job. It is much beyond that, which means you make your profile more visible, more searchable. And that is done through your networking, through your content, and using all the tools that LinkedIn provides. And most of these tools are absolutely free to use. Like you don't have to pay anyone anything. So technically, when you're in a job market and you're looking for your next opportunity, you're moving to a new country, you need to have everything in place. And in the past 3 years, LinkedIn has actually provided millions of opportunities to people. So if my profile is not optimized, I never posted, I never completed my profile, and I just expect something to happen. And I hardly like log into my profile with an aim to connect with someone or to start a conversation, then recruiters are not going to find me. If you're a business and you don't turn out light in your shop and you don't open the door, people will not come.
We touched upon all the profile creation, optimization, how we have to be visible. But when it comes to selling the product, actively looking for, customers, for example, how do you see this whole thing is going to help a business person selling the services? So thanks very much everybody joining for this podcast. So I invited my friend Hammad Siddiqui on this podcast, and we are going to discuss how are we going to use LinkedIn in 2024. Like, LinkedIn has been around for so many years, but a lot of people just use it for creating a profile and leave it like this, and they only update it when they change a job or something like this, or they go on LinkedIn when they're rushing into applying a jobs. So we are going to discuss what is the optimal use of LinkedIn in 2024 and how this is going to change over time, and how we can basically use this as a potential tool to build our profile so that we can stand out against the competitors and the crowd as well. So before further ado, let me introduce Hamad Siddiqui. Hamad, how are you?
Thank you very much, Yasin. No, everything is fine. Just enjoying summer here, and working hard as usual.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Hamad, let tell us about yourself a little bit. How you get into this whole LinkedIn profile creation. I know that you have a huge career in terms of you were economist, and then you change your career into something else, and now in the last few years since pandemic, you are basically helping other clients to build their LinkedIn profile. So tell us briefly about yourself, and how you get into this LinkedIn thing.
Yeah, so I've been coaching LinkedIn for over 10 years now. So LinkedIn has changed completely, I would say. Probably significantly is not the right word. It's completely changed the features, the way it used to be, which was a job search portal, technically speaking, uh, until 2016 when Microsoft took it over. But during pandemic, LinkedIn has grown significantly, and now it is double of what it used to be in 2021. So just think about it, from 500 million to a billion users globally, the platform is growing. The downside of it is that we are used to of other social media platforms. For instance, Facebook, which actually came before LinkedIn. So the idea of how LinkedIn can help people is pretty much limited still. Over, I would say 90% plus people don't even know how to use LinkedIn. So create a profile, and often they leave it incomplete, or they do not provide the right information, which LinkedIn could then use for to help them increase their visibility, whether it's a job search possibility, or finding clients possibility, or building your personal brand possibility, uh, targeting new opportunities possibilities. So all those possibilities are out there that LinkedIn can help you with. But because we don't really understand how LinkedIn works, we are unable to tap into those opportunities. So that was the basic criteria for me to think of, and that was the pain point that I picked, something that the gap I wanted to fill in. And because I had already been using LinkedIn for so many years, and of course coaching people how to use it, transition was not that difficult. Although post transition is more difficult because rapidly it is changing. So I have to keep up with the pace of things and new strategies, the content strategy, the views going up, going down, algorithm changing, and everything. So But ultimately, your question is such an amazing question. I can even talk hours and hours on this question. People don't really understand how LinkedIn can help them. They just create a profile and they forget about it. So that was the gap that I wanted to fill in.
Absolutely. And I think I would also count myself into this group of people, who did not really understand the LinkedIn until I met you a few months ago. And I now, since we met, and then I have also changed some things on my LinkedIn profile and the way I'm using it. So I'm really seeing the difference, for sure. Um, so how are you helping clients in terms of, like, if somebody reaches out to you and say, hey, Hamad, can you help me building my LinkedIn profile? Like, what do you see into their profile? What are the gaps that you identify, and how do you kind of coach them in terms of, okay, what they have to do in terms of, modifying their profile, optimizing it? Like, tell us about, how you can help them.
Right. So I think first and foremost is the importance of understanding the word optimization, because a lot of people use this word, but not many can explain what optimization means. Optimization means technically optimal use of your resources. Whatever resources you have, you use those resources optimally, best possible way. And when you use your resources best possible way, you get the best possible response or result. Very simple. So what I do is I work with my clients, first of all, understanding what exactly their objective is. What do they want to achieve? So if somebody says, I just want to switch job, yeah, or I'm looking for a job, that's not sufficient for anyone to work on a profile. One has to go much deeper. What skills do you have what have you been doing before, how this can be changed into something different. So for instance, um, if you are a supply chain professional, within supply chain there are so many fields, right? You could be a warehouse person, you could be an inventory person, you could be someone technical, you could be looking after robotics, you could be doing so much, like whatever I have learned in supply chain, because one of my client was supply chain, is that there's so many things that you can do. Now, people often focus on supply chain as such, but when you are looking for a job opportunity, you have to actually look much deeper and align that person's skills and experience and knowledge, these three factors, and build upon it. So once I have all that information, which I of course discuss it with the client and see how where there are gaps and what can be done, I then do my research as to what is being searched. So, for instance, at this point in time, there are more opportunities for warehouse managers, or someone who knows SNOP, someone who is doing something else within supply chain. And I'm also a supply chain professional, but I am not focusing on that particular niche. Then recruiters who are searching for people like me will never be able to reach to my profile, right? So this is what I do. And then we do a reverse engineering of that, which means that, okay, this is, of course, because of the time, at this point in time, there is more job opportunities for these kind of jobs. Let's focus on this more, but of course, keep the overarching objective of supply chain as a professional brand for yourself. So all that work, it's like a work when I work with a client, do Zoom call with the client, um, prepare things for client, identify keywords, uh, reposition the overall visual branding and everything. So all that process is, it looks very simple. It is not, number one. That's
Mhm.
why people come and pay me. The other thing is that once you have done the optimization and you've filled all the gaps, then the next stage is also very important. You have created a platform for your own self in shape of your profile. It is complete, it will become more visible. But then comes the training part, which is a package that I offer. I used to simply offer optimization. You come and pay me and I'll do the optimization. But what I felt is that people also need to learn how to use LinkedIn. So I created a complete program for these people. I do it one on one and groups both. And
Mhm.
once the optimization is done, I take them through a process of understanding how they can tap into opportunity. It's not simply searching for supply chain professional job. It is much beyond that, which means you make your profile more visible, more searchable.
Mhm.
And that is done through your networking, through your content, and using all the tools that LinkedIn provides. And most of these tools are absolutely free to use. Like you don't have to pay anyone anything unless you have money in the pocket and you want to subscribe to a premium profile. You don't need to. So this is the whole package that I offer people. And once we have done the optimization, I provide them 2 sessions taking a deeper dive into all these small things which actually can help them grow their profile and become visible in the marketplace. This is what I do.
If you are an investor in the US, in Canada, or in Europe, and you are considering investing into Dubai real estate market, this video is for you because we have a platform called Stake, which allows you to invest into the residential real estate market and start earning rental income right away without going through a lengthy documentation process or coming up with a heavy down payment. Stake is built upon this the concept of crowdfunding. So it is democratizing the entire investment strategy and allows you to own a single unit of the entire investment portfolio. So you don't have to own the entire property, right? You can be part of the pool that can actually own a piece of property, a piece of real estate. So that allows you to start with as low as 2000 dirhams and you can slowly ramp up. So as you start investing into it, you can not only own a bit of real estate, but you also get a portion of the rental income on monthly basis. So it's a passive investment strategy, diversifying your portfolio from traditional North American or European markets into Dubai, which is hustling and bustling and growing very fast and allows you to build your wealth over time. So don't delay. There is a link down there in the description. If you click on this, it will give you free 200 dirhams in your account right away to start with, and you can thank me later. Okay, very good. And the next question I was thinking about was, is it applicable across multiple personas? Like, I know that you typically help out the solopreneurs and entrepreneurs, but what about the salaried employees? Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
somebody is
So
working
yeah,
in a corporate environment.
yeah, yeah. So see, so people come to me who are looking for job opportunities as well. A
Hmm.
lot of immigrants who are coming to Canada, they reach out to me because now they're here back home. They never needed LinkedIn. Now they need LinkedIn
Yeah.
desperately. And with the unemployment rate in Canada at 6.4%, you need it more desperately, right? You need to put all your arsenal in shape before you reach out to the market, right? Your resume has to be optimized, your profile has to be optimized. You need to understand how to use networking opportunities, how to connect with people, how to follow recruiters, and do not send a connection request to any recruiter. First of all, that's my advice to everyone, because they're not going to accept it. You will only get frustrated. But engage with them, build conversations and all that. So it's not only solopreneurs and entrepreneurs and startups. I actually work with people who are looking for job opportunities. And interestingly, Yasin, there was a time like 3 years 3 years ago almost. Um, People were struggling to get opportunities using LinkedIn in the GCC countries. Now, what I've seen is that even very local Arabs, because that's one of the market that I serve a lot. A lot of my clients are in GCC countries. They are using LinkedIn extensively, and because I work with these clients, I know that some of the topmost professionals in Saudi and in UAE, you find them on LinkedIn, and that's a shift that I've seen in the past 3 years. Um, you know,
Mm.
I'm just giving an example. Um, Chief of Saudi Railway, for instance. Like, why would he need to be on LinkedIn? Think about it, right?
Mm.
On LinkedIn. Ministers on LinkedIn. Saudi ministers, assistant ministers, deputy ministers, NEOM, PIF, all these big organizations, giant organizations, most of their senior management board members, they are on LinkedIn.
Which
So
was not
is
before.
no, it's just happened in
Mm.
the past 3 years. The realization, the appreciation, how LinkedIn can really help even organizations brand themselves. It actually happened in the past 4 years, particularly in the past 3 years. So it's not only someone who is looking at personal branding and growing their social profile as a solopreneur or a startup. A lot of people who come to me are in the job market or looking to find the next job. So when you're looking for a job and you really want to be in the job market, you need to be more visible. So technically, when you're in the job market and you're looking for your next opportunity, you're moving to a new country, you need to have everything in place. And in the past 3 years, LinkedIn has actually provided millions of opportunities to people. Now, Yasin, interestingly, I also get something very interesting from some people who talk to me and they never sign up. They say, they have been on LinkedIn for past 7, 8 years, but they have never received even a single call from any recruiter. And when I look at their profile, number one, their profile is usually incomplete. Number two, they have never posted anything. So technically, LinkedIn marks such profiles as dormant profiles. So in search, you may appear randomly, but you are not going to appear in search, like targeted search opportunities will never come to you. And when
Hmm.
recruiter use LinkedIn, they use something called LinkedIn recruiter tool. And that LinkedIn recruiter tool is what helps them find candidates. And they pay quite a heavy amount to LinkedIn for subscription of that tool, which means that the tool
Hmm.
has to be near perfect so that they find the right candidate, right? That then they will continue. So that recruiter tool is what they use it optimally. And what I know that almost 50% recruiters only in Canada every morning they log into the recruiter tool and they search for candidates. Now it's up to the
Hmm.
candidate. So if my profile is not optimized, I never
Yeah,
posted, I never completed my profile, and I just expect something to happen, and I hardly like log into my profile with an aim to connect with someone or to start a conversation, then recruiters are not going to find me. All that needs
absolutely.
to be understood, and all those nitty-gritties have to be in place when you are looking for your next job opportunities, or even if you're looking for any business opportunity. You cannot. So I usually use this analogy: if you're a business and you don't turn out light in your shop and you don't open the door, people will not come.
Yeah, of course. Yes, absolutely. I think the visibility is more important than ever, especially after the pandemic when everything went completely digital. And people, the only way to people for people to kind of find out about the business or any need, it's basically online, right? So they go on Google, search for the stuff that they want to buy, and that's how they actually land on the company's website. So absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So so when it comes to helping, so let's say if I'm the client, I sat down with you, you looked into my profile and I said, okay, Yasin, you have these areas where you have to work on. um, how do I make sure that I fill up those gaps myself? um, should I start posting about my niche, which I'm trying to target or I'm trying to be visible for? And should I start connecting with individuals who are the top professional in that industry, and try to connect with them and comment on their posts and share ideas? Like, is this what you think you should be doing to kind of start working from it?
Yeah. So if a client comes to me for LinkedIn profile optimization, I take care of optimizing the profile and I train that client how they should be using LinkedIn. And that
Hmm.
training has a component of content strategy. The content
Okay.
strategy is again a research document that I provide to my client. It's usually one pager as to what kind of content you should be posting and how do you find that content. Like, if you have to find that content and then repurpose it or create your own content, how do you do that? That's part of the whole package that I offer. Now I think the bigger point is that why this is needed. When you're branding
Mm.
yourself, when you want LinkedIn to push your profile more, you have to provide more content, as simple as that. More content, more targeted and relevant content, more content which is relevant to that particular industry, will help your profile grow within that specific community. Now, how it happens is also very important to understand before I address the question that you asked. See, LinkedIn is based, and all these social media tools are based on artificial intelligence now, right? They They analyze data, and based on the data, they provide you relevant connections. So in your feed, you see suggested. They suggest people who to follow, and when you go on to networking, it suggests you which person to connect with. It also suggests you events. It also suggests you newsletters to follow. Now, how it happens? It happens because you're providing certain type of content, and at the back end, algorithm is reading that content and understanding what exactly you would need, and matches your profile with other profile with the same industry with the same interest. It's all about relevance. Now, it does not happen overnight. It takes time. So when I work with my client, I take care of optimizing the profile, which means they work with me. I provide them the keywords which they have to approve, of course. I can be wrong as well, so I provide them two or three options. So Yasin would have two three options, and Yasin's like, okay, these two things are absolutely relevant to me, and I just take that, and that's the starting point. And then we do the branding, which means designing the banners, suggesting client what kind of picture we should have on the profile, uh, improving everything within the profile, targeting our audience, and sometimes like very small things that we test and really work well. One of my clients was from Singapore, coming to Canada soon, and he was working in, so I won't name, in cosmetic industry, so like a global brand. He was CFO, and so I looked at when I looked at his profile, within the profile, the industry is selected, which obviously did the right thing, cosmetics. And I asked him, cosmetics is a sub branch of a much bigger sector, which is um, chemicals, right? It's ultimately chemicals, right? So, so why don't we move you from just simple cosmetics to chemicals? Because then you will have a wider scope of things.
Hmm.
Initially, he didn't agree. He said, I want to be very focused. I said, you still will be focused. A CFO in a very large cosmetic company can be a CFO in a lubricant company as well, because that's also chemical, right? So eventually he agreed. It took him about 3 to 4 months, but he eventually found a very good job in Canada. He moved from Singapore because his family was there. The point I wanted to make is these small things have to be very carefully looked at uh, um, for an optimized and really powerful profile which appears in search. Now, one of my client in Saudi Arabia recently signed up for my monthly retainer package that I have, in which I optimize the profile, I do all the branding, and I also then manage content and network for my clients. He's a busy guy. He's in supply chain. He works with a very large multinational company in Saudi Arabia. Doesn't have time, but he wants to grow his profile. He wants to brand himself. His challenge is that he is so thick-headed that I am suggesting him few things and he always rejects. Now, slowly, what I'm saying, okay, let's come to a point where you are comfortable with, and see it. So you get different type of clients. Those who work with me and take and trust my capabilities grow faster, which means that they are more out there and they're more seen and they're more commenting. I don't comment, so because that's too technical. You have to comment. I'll guide you how to, but you
Hmm.
have to comment yourself. So ultimately, if we package everything together and build it as a holistic objective for our own selves, that I have to spend, okay, Ahmad is even managing it. If I'm managing it, I will still spend 30 minutes or 25 minutes of my time to do things that Ahmad has suggested me to do. There is always a very rapid improvement. Usually, I've seen improvement within 60 days. Visibility improves, network significantly improves, and obviously, eventually, opportunities will stall.
Hmm.
And also, eventually, opportunities will also start falling into your lap.
Absolutely. Very, very encouraging. Okay, so in terms of improving the profile, let's say we optimize it using your services. You change the keywords, you guide the client, and then the client started posting articles, or some LinkedIn small posts, and start engaging. How do you see that recruiters are going to, like, how long does it take for recruiters to kind of see that profile visible in their search? Like, is it the same 60 days that you mentioned, or it's going to take time
Approximately. See,
before?
yeah,
Yeah.
approximately. Now that LinkedIn provides also tools such as you can select companies and you can set, notifications, job notifications. You can also become a contributor to recruiters' posts, for instance. Because
Mm,
you see, look, there's a huge hidden job market on LinkedIn. A lot of recruiters, even companies. So if you are a hiring manager and you don't want to go to a longer route and you need to work with someone, you just post on your LinkedIn profile. And
right.
if I'm a candidate and if I don't know you, you're not in my network, I am not active user of LinkedIn, I will never see that post,
Mm,
which means that there is a hidden job available and I never spotted it. So
mm,
once you start looking at that and your feed becomes enriched with opportunities, you will see it's not only the recruiter reaching out to you, you will see a lot of opportunities in your own feed, and you would see hardly anybody has commented on that. That's where you build. So this is what I teach. This is how you build
mm,
conversation with people. And given the job market situation, U.S. job market is much better than the Canadian job market at this point in time. But even in the US job market, if you are not active, if you are not following the process, then of course nobody's going to spot you.
yeah,
As simple as that. If you don't
absolutely.
go to a party, nobody's going to meet you, right? You have to go to that party.
Yeah, if you're standing outside, alone, of course, nobody will see you. um okay, this is great. And so when it comes to selling, we talked about how to optimize profile for the professionals, whether this is salaried profile, salaried employed person, or a solopreneur, or entrepreneur. When it comes to selling services or product, for example, if I have a business, and I'm trying to sell my product, digital product, um, how do you see that selling part happens on the LinkedIn? Right, is it so we touched upon all the profile creation, optimization, how we have to be visible, but when it comes to selling the product, actively looking for customers, for example, how do you see this whole thing is going to help a business person selling the
Right.
services?
So, first thing we need to really understand that LinkedIn is a tool, and that tool provides us different components. And how do we use those components? How smartly do we use those components matters a lot. Um, so, in my solopreneurship training program that I have 3 weeks, this is what I teach. One of the concept is reverse funnel. People buy from you if they trust you. You must not sell because we don't like salespeople, right? And that's a fact. Knocking
Hmm.
door, buy, let's buy this from us. Nobody is going to buy. Still, a lot of companies try that. This is called cold calling. Like the other day, Talus people came to me. They want to sell me something. I already have versions, so you say I'm quite happy with what I have. Talus never tried to help me by giving me some value before they started selling me,
Hmm.
right? And value is what you get, price is what you pay. Simple, right? So before even you start selling, well, I know for a salesperson, that price factor comes first. So they will offer you, okay, we'll give you something for 25% discount price, something like that,
Yeah.
right? So that's how they attract. But the
Hmm.
actual attraction is, okay, um, what features am I going to get? And those features are the real value. If I can pay $30, I can also pay $50, right? So if you are using LinkedIn from a salesperson's mindset, LinkedIn is not that effective. But if you are building your credibility and trust by showing your expertise and excellence, it helps. So the first point is
Hmm.
that if you have a service that you want to sell, create a service page. It's free. You don't need to like pay LinkedIn anything. Just create a service page and have the testimonials, have the graphics, the videos, the anything that you want to provide your audience. So on my service page, I have added video
Mm.
testimonials. Actually, when I'm teaching, I'm taking those testimonials from people. And if I tell you, Yasin, I'm very good in it, in doing something, you
Yeah.
may, okay, okay. But if somebody else tells you Hamad is very good, the impact will be very different, right?
Yeah. Social proof that we call it.
Social proof. So the
Yeah.
social proof has to be there, and that's one of the least utilized feature for anyone on LinkedIn. If you're a service
Mm.
provider, if you're not using service page feature, you're missing out on opportunities. The next thing comes in, and people actually are convinced that it works. It's the sales navigator. I personally feel that, again, from the concept of cold calling, sales navigator is not that effective unless you have a social proof, you have enough content available on your LinkedIn about the topic. You are proving that you are a valuable person, knowledgeable person. You create value and opportunities for people through your service. Even using Sales Navigator is not going to work because
Mm.
it's almost like Talos guy knocking at my door. Um,
Right.
So what we have to do is to start using LinkedIn's tools such as content, of course. Number one, content is everything. Or every advertisement in this world is content. This is content. What way you're talking is content. So start using that content and start helping people learn something through your content. If you follow my post, and I'm sure you do, every post is a unique piece of uh, value that I provide.
Yeah.
Even if I'm selling in that post, I'm not saying I'm selling. It's done in a very subtle manner, and that's very important. So
Mm.
write content, write newsletter. Like tomorrow is going to be a newsletter. Every Monday, of I sometimes miss as well, but every Monday my newsletter is published. And now that newsletter has got over 44,000 subscribers.
Wow.
25% to 30% people open the newsletter and read it. If they're consuming my content, they are my potential clients.
Mm.
Very simple. If I'm skipping an advertisement, I will never buy that product.
Yeah. Act. Yeah. Totally agree.
So
Totally agree.
just keep that in mind, and rest will fall in place. You really
Yeah.
need to have a product. It has to be priced properly. There has to be a delivery mechanism, and then you start talking about a product.
Mm. So, what do you see a a typical frequency for publishing newsletter? So, I also started, my newsletter on my LinkedIn, and I think it's been just like a week or no, actually 5 weeks, yeah, so far, and I'm over 300 subscribers already. So, where do you see the frequency at? Because I typically post once in a week. Do you think
Once
this
in
is
a week
optimal?
is okay. See, in any content, the key thing is to maintain that consistency or the
Hmm.
discipline, which means that if you are writing about a certain industry, you should continue writing about that industry only or that field. It's like, you know, now nobody gets a newspaper at home. We used to get a newspaper at home, and I would
Hmm.
take out the sports page because that's my first priority. My father would read the politics and the rest of the things, right? So just keep in mind, people like to read things they're interested in. So you cannot force content onto to their throat. So
Hmm.
if they are interested in reading your content, and you need to, 300 is good in 4 weeks. You need to keep looking at the open rate, how many people are reading your content, and do your SEO properly. You will see slowly your newsletter will start getting indexed on Google as well, which actually brings in more audience from
Hmm.
outside LinkedIn for people who don't follow you. So frequency and consistency. So consistency and discipline, rather. These are the two words. So if you're doing it weekly, do it weekly. If you think you can do it, you can do better content like fortnightly in 2 weeks' time, do it that way.
Hmm.
So, it really depends on on you. What do you want to show your potential reader?
Mm. So you're saying, the consistency should not be compromised, whether you're doing weekly or bi-weekly. It has to be consistent.
It
Okay.
has to be very focused as well.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think we cannot post multiple topics from a same profile, right? Because it will confuse the audience in terms of what I'm trying to show.
Yeah, but you can
Um,
create multiple newsletters if you want. It
hmm.
can be done. So you can have more than one newsletter if you want.
Can we do it on a free version? Because I tried to create another one, but it was not giving me the option
Yeah,
because I
because
don't have a
probably
paid
you
subscription. Hmm.
just started. So when you start on LinkedIn, you will see that LinkedIn doesn't give you a lot of leeway. It doesn't give
Hmm.
you a lot of opportunities. It actually
Okay.
restricts you because it actually wants you to do more, to learn about
To be
LinkedIn.
active. Yeah.
Once you start doing, like, I can do unlimited profile searches. I don't have a premium profile, and but a lot of people can only search about 10 to 15 or something like 10 to 20 profiles in a week. I
Hmm.
can do unlimited. I'm not paying LinkedIn
Okay.
anything, right? So
Okay.
just keep that in mind. Another very important thing here is, Yasin, that is still very much underutilized because it just started a few months ago, is possibility of boosting your posts or boosting your newsletter, and that
Hmm.
is done through your page. So if you create a LinkedIn page as well, for your company, then you can boost your posts. So you can redirect your post or repost it with a link, and that's how you can do it. It's expensive. It's if somebody is making money, that's okay. I don't suggest it as much,
Yeah.
but usually what I have seen is that if you have a budget of $20 to $25 a day and you boost it for 5 days, you get quite a bit of traction onto it. But
Hmm.
if somebody wants to grow a newsletter quickly, that's one thing that can be done as well. But again, it
Yeah.
requires you to invest.
Sorry for the interruption, guys. Just wanted to let you know that we have a team of realtors which is covering the entire GTA as well as some outside areas as well, like Brent region where I am based off, and I help out the clients in this region as well. So if you have any needs with regards to real estate transactions, buying, selling, investing, renting, let me know. There is a link down there where you can book a one-to-one consulting call with me, and we will be more than happy to help you out. Let's get back to the video. And tell me one thing, because I could be wrong, but my observation so far has been is, yeah, we have so many social media platforms, but I think LinkedIn is perhaps the only one that has the high potential audience. When I say high potential audience, means the people have high propensity to spend money, because most of the people on LinkedIn are professionals, so they have higher purchasing power. They are highly paid employees or business owners, compared to other platforms like Twitter or YouTube or Facebook. You have a general audience on those platforms, even though they have higher number. But when it comes to LinkedIn, I think it's a smaller number compared to those platforms, but they have high propensity to spend money. So if you are actively looking for candidates with high, you know or deep pockets, LinkedIn, I think, is the best platform to search for.
So yeah, a couple of things I would like to add here is that, see, on LinkedIn. So I did a comparison of uh, the size of the platform and the content people are posting, and then the average engagement rate for content. LinkedIn on LinkedIn, the number of people posting is the least. So only 1 to 2% people do
Hmm.
content on LinkedIn, and fewer than that actually do video content. So when there's a bigger space for content and not many people are doing it, you fill up that space by doing it. That's point number one. Once you keep doing it, people will
Hmm.
keep spotting you, and there will be a time when they need your services, they will come and ask you, like, for more details.
Right.
That's point number one. Point number two is that LinkedIn, um, on LinkedIn, you can actually target your audience based on the demography better than any other social media platform. Because, on other social media platform, you cannot target a specific industry. Here you can, right?
Hmm.
So if you want to sell into technology industry, you know, it's not only someone who's you say founder or startup, you can actually specify a specific country, a specific location, and more details into it,
Mm,
that this person is interested, for instance, in a technology, Microsoft, for instance, or SAP. So your targeting is much better in the long run on LinkedIn as compared to any other social media platform.
right.
Third
Right.
point
Okay.
is that, since not many people are spending a lot of money on LinkedIn, when you spend money on LinkedIn and advertise, you get more traction.
Mm,
It's all logical. It's all,
yeah.
it's nothing
So
rocket science.
basically, the barrier of entry for LinkedIn is very low as of
It
now,
is
right? Because
absolutely. So I
yeah.
say I always tell, okay, as soon as you
Mm,
start writing on LinkedIn, you are amongst the first 1% or 2%.
mm,
Very simple. Uh,
yeah. It is less saturated,
it
compared to other
it
platforms.
is zero saturation. I would say
Mm,
zero comparison. Now, some people also say, okay, I see so many coaches writing this. I see influencers doing it. I tell them, because you're following them, LinkedIn is showing you their content.
absolutely. I see this as well because when I go on LinkedIn on my feed, I see I think 8 out of 10 people are digital solopreneurs and they're trying to sell their digital services. So I for once I also had the same thought. Why I'm only seeing these people because the type of people that I'm interacting with is basically the same personas.
And you can actually train your feed as well. A lot of people don't
Mm,
know that. So you go on
mm,
to the top of your feed, and there are like three dots. Click on dots and tell LinkedIn that you don't want to see this content.
okay, I didn't know
and
that.
and
Mm,
you will see in the next, if you keep doing it for that kind of content, you will not
mm,
see it, or maybe the frequency of that content will come down significantly. And then
okay.
at the same time, you start following some other content. So, if, for instance, if you are more interested in productivity and you start following James Clear for his content, you
Mm,
will start seeing more content that is either James Clear or people like James Clear.
right.
So
Okay.
I don't see any other social media platform giving you that opportunity. Another thing also is that LinkedIn is the only platform. I mean, I don't see any other platform that actually provides you the opportunity to post literally any type of content, every type of content:
W- okay.
text images, PDF
Mm,
documents, PowerPoint presentation, video content, you name it, quizzes. I mean, it is almost, I would say, comprehensive in terms of
mm,
what type of content you can add. And more variety you add, more flavorful your profile will become.
right. Right. Okay. Very interesting, Ahmad. Thanks for sharing those insights and your business as well. If somebody wants to reach out to Ahmad, I will put some contact details in the description below. Please reach out. He can help you with regards to improving your profile, help you to build your profile, and then be visible amongst the other people on LinkedIn. So, Ahmad, before we close this off, any last comment?
The last comment is this is what I always say: do not underestimate the power of LinkedIn. That actually is the most powerful uh, platform for B2B, B2C, C2C, and personal branding. If you don't use it now and you use it after 6 months, say, okay, I will wait for the right time, that will be the worst decision to make. If you can invest into yourself now, 6 months down the line, you will be ahead in the game from all those people who have not invested. And I'll give you a little example. My younger daughter is now in third year at University of Toronto. I had been telling her to create a LinkedIn profile, and she would always say, "Okay, Baba, I will do that." Now, because now she's looking for a job, a part-time job, she used to work somewhere. She's still working, but she wants to shift. She
Mm,
started building it up slowly. Now, yesterday when I saw it, she had created a profile 2 years ago, but never told me, which means she
right.
has only three connections, and I am her first connection. So I
Okay.
connected with her yesterday, two more connections. The point is, she would have grown a profile in 2 years to several thousand potential people
Hmm.
had she given proper
Already.
due importance to the profile. Because she goes to
Hmm.
Toronto every day, she has at least an hour every day commuting, like 2 hours every day, and she's only
Hmm.
listening to music or listening to something rather than
Yeah.
using. I would have used LinkedIn and grow my profile. So invest a lot of time,
Okay.
effort, energy, and some money in creating that momentum towards your professional growth.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Thanks very much, Ahmad. We will connect with you again on another topic. So stay tuned, folks, until the next
Thank you very much for your
episode.
invite.
Thank you. Are you a non US tax resident and looking to open a business in the US? Well, this video is very important for you, so watch it till the end. Basically, if you are a non US tax resident, which means you don't have SSN, which is your tax identification number, which means when you open a bank account or you open a Stripe account or PayPal account or Amazon business account or any business account, you need your SSN number in order to open any of these accounts in the US. While if you are a non-US tax resident, which means you don't have SSN with you, you can have another identification which is called ITIN. So ITIN is similar 9-digit number which is used for tax purposes if you are a non-US tax resident. So whenever you apply for a business account or bank account or payment processing account like PayPal or Stripe or even Amazon FBA seller, or registering a business in the US, you can use ITIN instead of SSN. This will help you to set up all of these things even though you're not a US tax resident. So if you're in Canada, Latin America, Europe, UK, Australia, or anywhere in the world, you can apply for ITIN and you can use ITIN to register a business, open up the business accounts, open up the payment processing account in the US, and pretty much do all the tax related stuff using ITIN even though you don't have SSN. One of the unique use case for ITIN is if you are a non-tax resident but you have a US based income. Like, for example, you have a rental property in the US or any other business that is generating income from the US, then depending upon the tax treaty from your parent country, you may have to file taxes in the US. Right? So when you have to file taxes in the US, you need ITIN because you have to file your tax return on a Form 1040NR. Okay, so if you are a non-tax resident, you need the Form 1040NR in order to file your tax return. And when you fill up that form, you will be required to enter your ITIN because you don't have SSN. So in order to enter your tax identification number, you have to have ITIN number ready. Okay, this is a very common use case for all the non-tax resident that is generating income in the US. They need to file tax return. Depending upon your tax treaty between your parent country, you may need ITIN as well. So how do you get that? Well, there are some companies available on the internet that will help you to get you the ITIN, but they may charge between $400 to $600 per application. We have a company called ITIN and they are one of the quickest in terms of submitting the application. So they will help you out in terms of collecting the documentation, help you out in terms of answering your questions, and help you out in terms of submitting the application. Now, the typical application process times takes between 4 to 14 weeks, but the ITIN people only take 48 hours to collect the information, help you out in the journey, submit your application, and from that point onwards, it's basically IRS. IRS can take between 2 to 12 weeks depending upon their volume of the applications, but throughout the process, they will handhold you in terms of opening up the accounts, help you to open up the FBA account or Stripe account or PayPal account, or guide you in terms of the entire process. They're pretty quick to respond. They have people speaking English and Spanish and Arabic, and they can give you very competitive rates as well. Plus, if you use my referral link, which will give you extra $50 discount when you purchase their services. So if you are looking to open a business in the US, start your journey today, apply for ITIN. Even though if you're not looking to open a business now, you should have ITIN just in case in the future if you want to open a business, you're ready from tax standpoint. So check the link in the description below and let's get back to the video.